to sit here and tell you my story about how the gym saved my life. I've always done some form of activity in my life. I did ballet, netball, athletics, football, basketball, anything I could do that was sport related, I did. And that meant that I was active honestly up to about 2 hours every single day. So in 2015 I went to university. So I left Dubai, I went to the University of Kent and I did sports therapy. And it probably wasn't until into first year that I kind of started seeing signs of maybe depression, anxiety. New country, new weather, which by the way affects moods massively. Born and raised in a country where it was sunny about 364 days of the year. And then going to the UK where it was grey, cold, rainy. It really actually impacted my mood more than I thought it would. Obviously university, going out, drinking, partying, all of that. And I barely did any exercise. Around Christmas time, went home, realised I was so much happier at home in Dubai. Kind of didn't put anything together. But we had a reading week in January and everyone in my halls of residence went home because just a train ride away, and I was the only one left in my halls. I remember waking up one morning, realising everyone had gone, and I just started crying. I was like, I'm so upset when the hustle and bustle of distractions, university, all of that, people disappeared. I sat there with myself and I was like, I am so unhappy. And I called my mum crying and she was kind of freaking out. She just said, look, come home. So I booked a flight for that evening, flew back to Dubai, and for 1 week I just tried to kind of sort my life out. In that week I did a lot more kind of swimming in the pool, went to the beach, got the gym in every single day, and that's when I realised this is the piece that I've been missing. Went into second year of university. I moved into a house with, I think it was three boys and one girl. And obviously living in a house with guys, they're big into training, big into rugby, gym, and they started going to the gym and I was like, oh cool, I'll join them. I joined netball as well. Netball was like the only thing that kept me sane, and I realised it was the only thing that I looked forward to outside of the gym. Now second year is kind of when my life crumbled. I was really reactive, really emotional. I cried a lot, I shouted a lot. I hated who I was because people were scared of me. Therefore I stopped going out as much because I thought if I went out, my mood would be worse, people wouldn't want to be around me, and so I kind of just stayed cooped up at home. It was at this point that I literally wasn't making eye contact with people. I would avoid conversations, confrontation, anything that involved me communicating with people. That kind of drew me into a bit of a cave. The one thing that I did do was I kept going to the gym with the guys. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was training, but I kept going, and there was times where I literally wasn't sleeping. I had the worst insomnia, but I would get up, go to the gym, come back, try nap, and that was my cycle. So January of second year, I think that was 2017, I was back home and I literally wasn't getting out of bed. And my mum was like, you know, come on, you've got to get up. I know you're on holiday, but you can't fall into this cycle. And I literally said, I cannot be bothered to get out of bed. There's no point. I have no reason to get out of bed. And yeah, I basically had a massive breakdown. I couldn't not cry. I'd get asked a question like, I don't know, are you hungry? And I'd just cry. And yeah, that was kind of my tipping point, and the point where my mum said, look, I think it's best that you go talk to someone. Luckily I had been able to open up to her. I had been hiding it, I think, or I hadn't even been aware I was hiding anything until she said, you need to go speak to someone. So she booked me in and I went and saw a psychologist. we talked through everything, and it was the end of that kind of assessment that I was diagnosed with chronic depression, anxiety disorder, and obsessive compulsive disorder. This is when I realised that my obsessiveness might have saved me, because my obsession to control my mood through the gym was the only thing that kept me going. In my head, if I couldn't control my mental health, but I could control how my body looked, I could control the strength of my body physically, not mentally, that's what I would do. And so even on days where I was honestly like a zombie, I would train. I never took it too far, and I didn't ever want to be skinny. I wanted to be strong to compensate for the weakness that I thought I had in my brain, in my head. I was mentally weak, but physically I wanted people to think that I was strong and I had my shit together, basically. After that, I was put on, I think, citalopram, I think that's what it was called, which was awful. It made things 10 times worse. I carried on doing therapy, and it was then that I actually had to go back to university, and that was really bad. Like, I hated where I was, but I carried on training. The buzz it gave me, the confidence it gave me, it was almost like this shield, this armor. I was like, look, people aren't going to think that I am messed up in the head if I show up, stay consistent, and look strong. I loved being in control of the strengths and the weights that I was doing. But what that did was it gave me a boost in confidence, and bearing in mind I was ridiculously anxious, I couldn't go to the gym alone. I had to go with this safety of these guys that I lived with. And through therapy, I had to step by step get myself to the gym alone, without music, without my phone at one point, which was awful. I think I stayed in the gym for like 3 minutes without my phone. I was like, no, screw this. But I did it. This took months and months. But it was then that I realised my life could be falling apart around me, but the gym was my happy place. The gym gave me that buzz, and for that hour during the session and after the session, maybe 2 hours after the session, life was okay. And I felt great. And so I kept going. Through all of this, I changed medications twice, because the medication actually made my insomnia even worse, and yeah, I just had really weird side effects. I then got put on sertraline, which changed my life. And I know people have views on antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication. You know, you can't always medicate to treat or whatever, but sertraline was the best thing I've ever done. It transformed me. It allowed me to have conversations with people. It allowed me to go out. I started making eye contact with people. I started joking with people. I started going out of my way to interact in public. I was so much more aware that other people might be feeling like me. In between all of that, I had another lowest point of my life. Just before my 20th birthday was awful, but I still went to the gym. I loved seeing my body change. I loved seeing how strong I got. I loved the compliments that I got, because it was adding to the fact that people noticed my strengths instead of my weaknesses. By the time third year rolled around, I had been on antidepressants for 1.5 years at this point, and I honestly never felt better until it got to the point where I was writing my dissertation and I had to seriously sit and not move and focus, go to the library. I called my mum one day. I said, I want to drop out of uni, and she was like, Hannah, you've got 2 months left of your whole degree. You could do it, but I know you're going to be annoyed if you do. And she's right. That obsessive part of me was like, look, I've started something, I'm going to have to finish it. So I did. I finished it. I trained, went to the library, slept, trained, library, slept. I kind of was on autopilot. Then university ended, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. And everyone was doing masters, so I thought, I'll do a master's. Thought it was the right thing to do, until I went and did the first day of it, and I realised I can't sit here and go through another year of testing my mental health and my limits that way. I had been so close so many times to giving up, to just quitting. I'm putting my foot down, and I'm not going to push myself through this just to prove that I could do a master's. Sorry, the camera just died, talking too long. But yeah, it strengthened my body in ways that I couldn't get from medication, I couldn't get from therapy. And yeah, I want to help people get through times that I got through with exercise. And fast forward 2-3 years now, in Bali, I'm an online fitness coach, and I am so happy. I'm weaning off of my antidepressants. I'm on half the dose that I was on before, and I couldn't have done it without exercise, as cliche as it sounds.